Hello everyone and welcome back to the Data Structures and Algorithms course. This is the last lecture and the topic for today is breadth first search. So we in the previous lecture we learned about uh, another traversal method which was known as the depth first search. So in that we went deep first and then we went uh, along the width. But in breadth first search, we'll first go along the width, and as we go through the levels, we go deeper into the graph. So we look at how it goes. So this is so both DFS and BFS are very important. So both of them have different uses. So let's see using an example. So we have a problem here which asks us to compute distances from a vertex. So how do we do so? So let's say this is a graph here. So here is x, this is y, and we want to know the length of the path here. So it is the number of edges between x and y. So in this case, you can simply count it. So you can say that there are six number of edges between x and y. So the path of length is 6. Okay. So now here is the another example. Let's say x to y is a path uh, and is a path of length k, and v is the vertex just before y, as you can see here. So v just before y, then we can say that the total length of path x to v would be k minus 1. This is very trivial since we are just subtracting this one edge from this k total. And then another question is, what can the maximum length of any path in a graph of total n vertices be? So the answer is n minus 1, because let's say the graphs are at the two most farmost points, then you let's say you can create a path containing all the vertices, and if the total number of vertices are n, then you and then to connect all n then to connect all vertices you have to take n minus 1 edges. So that is the maximum case. So in that case the length would be n minus 1. So here are some notations. So the shortest path of from x to y is the actual path. So in this case, you can see the red line here. So it would be from this x point to this vertex to this vertex to this vertex. So this is the shortest path from x to y. But then there is the distance from x to y. So distance is the length of the shortest path. So the distance from x to y is 3 in this case, because the total number of edges is 3. So the difference between distance and path. So distance is the actual length, and the path is the path we follow to get to y. So in the shortest path, we want to calculate the shortest path in undirected graphs. So how can we do so? So the problem is how to compute distance of all vertices reachable from x in a given undirected graph. So here is an example. Here we are taking x as the base node, and we want to calculate the shortest distance of all the other vertices from x. So as you can see here, you can say that f is clearly at distance 1 from x, and let's say here is v. So you can see that the minimum distance would be 2, but you can say that you can also come to v using a different path. So you can come to x through x to b to w to u. In that case the distance would be 3. So this is of course not the shortest path. So the shortest path would be x to u to v, which is of length 2. So here it is denoted. So we are using these notations. So v of 0 is are all the vertices which are at distance 0 from x. So that is only the node itself. So x is at distance 0 from itself. So that is the base case. Then we have v1. So v1 is the notation for all the vertices which are at distance 1 from x. So in this example, there are 3 edges coming out of x. So f, u, and b, these 3 vertices are at distance 1 from x. So then v2 is are the vertices which are at distance 2 from x. So in this case it would be G, H, S, R, B, and W. So G, H, S, where is S? S is here. S is through this X to U to S. Then we have R, which is here. Then we have V, which is here, and then we have W, which is here. So all these points are at, all these vertices are at distance 2 from x. So just a reminder, so the distance here is the shortest length you can get. And these are the examples. Then we can just continuously say for others. So v3 would be for distance 3, v4 would be for distance 4, and then so on. So let's say, think about this important property of shortest paths. So this is a given. So we have x to y is the shortest path between x to y. So we are given this, and v is the vertex just before y. So we want to prove that x to v, which is this p, is also the shortest path. So how do we do so? So the proof is, let's suppose in this capital P is the path from x to v which we had gotten from x to y path. So this is the path, and let's suppose that this is not the shortest path. So we want to prove this by contradiction. So we are assuming it to not be the shortest path. So in that case, we are assuming that, let's say there is a different path which is p dash. In this case we are taking, so let's say p dash is the shortest path between from x to v. But in that case, to find the shortest path from x to y, we could have done p dash plus 1, because this edge only counts as 1. So in that case, since p dash is less than p from our assumption, then p dash plus 1 would be less than p plus 1. So in that case, this p dash and plus this edge path would be the shortest path from x to y. But we had, but it was given that p plus and this edge v to y was the shortest path from x to y. So here comes the contradiction. So thus this cannot be the case, and thus we can conclude that p, capital P here, this is the path which is shortest from x to v. So using contradiction, we were able to prove this. So now we have, we can see a relation between these v0, v1, v2. So if we try to look into it, observe this, then what we'll find is this. Okay. So v0 is the vertex 0, so there's nothing special about it. It's the node, vertex itself. Then the vertices at distance 1 from x are the neighbors of v0, so which was the neighbors of x. So this is also is pretty trivial. Then the vertices at distance 2, so the v2 vertices are those neighbors of v1 which do not belong to v0 or v1. So that is something that you might have observed, but if not, you can see now. So those neighbors of v1 which do not belong to v0 or v1. So let's say here, uh, let's come to, so f was part of v1. So let's see all the neighbors of f. So x is the neighbor of f, b is the neighbor of f, u is the neighbor of f, h is the neighbor of f, and g is the neighbor of f. So these 5 vertices are neighbors of f. So amongst these, x was v0, part of v0, b was part of v1, and u was part of v1. So excluding these which came earlier, so excluding v0 and v1, the remaining what we were left were g and h. These two vertices you can observe will be part of v2. So in this case also you were able to find that g and h were part of v2. Similarly, if we try for any other node, let's say for w, so this b is a neighbor of w, u is a neighbor of w, v is a neighbor of w, and d is a neighbor of w. So b was part of v1, u was part of v1, and yeah, sorry, b was part of v1, u was part of v1, and v was part of v2. So these all came, w itself was part of v2. Here you can see w is part of v2. So we exclude everything which came before v2. So we exclude all the elements of v0, v1, and v2. So if we exclude b, u, and v, all we are left with is d. So in that case, d would be whatever the distance was of w plus 1, because of this h existing between w and d. So in this case, the distance of d from x would be 3, as it will belong to the set v3. So just in general, so if for set vi plus 1, that means that all the vertices which are at distance I plus 1 from x, these are all the vertices, those neighbors of vi. So all the neighbors of vi which do not belong to vi minus 1 or vi. So now the question is, how do we write a code to do so? How can we compute vi plus 1? So the key idea is to compute vi, all the vi which are possible, in increasing order of I. So from base case of v0, then we will calculate v1, then we'll calculate v2, and so on. So initially we have set, so we have a distance array which will have contain the distance of all the vertices. So initially we fill all the distances as infinity of each vertex. So you can see here. So and then we can initialize the distance of the base vertex from where we are taking the distance. So in this case, we took the distance from x. So we assign distance of x as 0. That's fine. Then computing v0, so v0 is done using this. Then we'll compute v1. Then we'll compute v2 and so on. So we'll compute vi, then we compute vi plus 1, then vi plus 2, blah blah blah. So once we have computed vi, then for every neighbor of v of vertex in vi, if v is in vj for some j belonging to I or I minus 1, then distance of v is a number which is less than or equal to I. And if v is in vi plus 1, then distance of v would be infinity. So let's come back to this example. So what we did initially was we set everything to infinity. Okay, done. Then x we can assign as 0. Okay, so v0 is done. Then we look at all the neighbors of x. See? So in this case, neighbor of x are f, u, and b. So we can imagine that the distances of all three of these would be infinity. So in that case, the case would be this below case. So distances are infinity. So in that case, v will belong to vi plus 1. So we can say that since I was 0 for this example, so all three of these f, u, and b will belong to v of 1. So we can say that. And the distance would be vi plus 1. So vi distance for this would be was 0. So distance would be 0 plus 1, which is 1. So from that we come to f. Then we look at all the neighbors of f. So we have g, h, u, b. Sorry, here g, h, u, b, and x. So if we look at the distances, so x was not infinity, b was not infinity, u was not infinity, because we have set all these values. So x was 0, b was 1, u was 1. Then h and g, these two were infinity. So now we can think that since these two were infinity, these have not yet appeared in our these have not been appeared in our search. So we assign these as b2. So these would be part of b2, and the distance would be distance of f plus 1. So distance of f was 1. So the distance would be 1 plus 1, which is 2. So then similarly for g now, if you look, so neighbors of g are f, h, r, and s. So f had distance 1, h has distance 2, r will also have distance 2 because of this path, and then s will also have distance 2. So all these will have distance 2. So in that case, since none of these are infinity, so there would be no path. Oh, so sorry, c was also coming out of g. I missed that. So since c is also coming out of in g, and the distance of c at this stage would be still be infinity. So in that case, since this is infinity, we can say that c will belong to next of this. So vi plus 1. So vi was 2 in this case, so c will belong to v3, and the distance would be 3. So in such a way, if we follow these steps and we follow these two cases, so distance is a number less than equal to I, or it would be infinity. So in that case, if it is less than equal to I, then it has already occurred in then we have already taken that node, so we can ignore that vertex. But if it is infinity, then we can assign it to vi plus 1. So let's look at the algorithm. So we need an algorithm which traverses and slash visits the vertices in non-decreasing order of distances from x. So this type of traversal is known as breadth first search. So we using this examples, and now we are finally coming to the topic which was BFS. So we'll go layer by layer. So we go in order of in non-decreasing distances. So let's look at this. So what we'll do is we'll be using the data structures queues. So we'll use a queue for traversing vertices in non-decreasing order of distances. So let's look at all the steps that will follow. So we'll start at the base node. So we assign x to our queue. Okay. Then we will come to x. So we will remove it from the queue, and then we will add all the neighbors of x which are not being visited. So f, u, and b, all three will be added to our queue. Then we will visit it q. Since this is q, the order will be first in first out. So since f is the first in to the queue, then f will leave the queue first. So we'll remove we'll remove f, and then u and b will still remain in the queue, and then we look at the neighbors of f. So neighbors of f are x, b, u, h, and g, as discussed earlier. And then in these examples, h and g have infinite distances assigned as infinity. So we can add g and h to our queue. So you can see here, these are assigned as purple color. So this is just for representation. So x will have distance 0, f, u, and b will have distance 1, and everything which are purple will have will have color purple. So since we have done with f, now we can check for u. So we look at all the neighbors of u which still have distance infinity, and we add it to the queue. So we are adding s, r, v, and w to our queue. And then for b, we look at all the neighbors, but everything is already done. So these remain. So everything here is part of v2. So you can see that first we finished with everything which was in layer v0, then our queue finished everything which was in v1. So we first did f, then u, then b, then we will go in order for everything in v2. So when we look at neighbors of g, we will find c, and then c will be added, and then we can imagine that c will be last. C will come after w. So everything between g to w will belong to set v2, and then after that, everything from c and onwards will belong to further sets. That is how we'll do it. So this is the pseudocode for the BFS. So here is the function BFS, which we will perform on G, graph G, with the base vertex as x. We have taken a distance array and initialized it with infinity for each value of v, and we have also taken a boolean array called visited, and everything is assigned false initially. So first of all, we create an empty queue. Since we are using queues for this, so we create an empty queue. Then we assign the distance of x as 0. So since x is the base node, so we are assigning it as 0. Then we can add it to our queue. So on queue is the function of adding a vertex to our queue. So we are adding the vertex x to our queue. And since we are adding it to our queue, we can also say that this vertex has been visited. So we can assign it as 2. So now while the queue is not empty, so while queue still has stuff, we will perform this function. So I will perform this block. So loop. So what we'll do is we dequeue from a queue, and we make that as v. So the element which is first amongst the queue is taken out, removed from the queue, and we assign it to v. So for v, we'll check. So for every neighbor which is w, which belongs to v, so there are multiple edges of v, and so every neighbor of w, we check that whether the distance of w is infinity or not. So if the distance is infinity, then we know that we can add it to our queue. So how do we add w to our queue? First of all, we'll assign the distance of w as distance of v plus 1. So since we know that the distance of v is the shortest distance from x to v, and then we know that there is an edge between v to w, then we can simply add that edge, and so the distance of w would be distance of v plus 1. And then we can also make the visited w as true, so we know that w has been visited, and then we can add it to our queue, so we can on queue w into our queue, and that is done. Using this while loop, everything, this will continue till our loop finishes. So if we just expand upon this example, we have this GHSRVW, GHVSRW. So I think C, Y, and D are the only remaining. So you can imagine that when we encounter G, C will be added. Then when we encounter H, nothing more will be added. Then when we encounter S, nothing more will be encountered added. When we encounter R, both D and Y will be added, and all C, Y, and D will belong to the set V3 and have distances as 3. And after all these are added, everything will have distance as not as infinity, and thus no more vertices will be added, and at some point everything will be dequeued using this loop. We dequeue everything, and at the end everything will have their perfect distances assigned. This is the BFS traversal pseudocode. So the running time of this will be order of n. So why is that? Because we are creating a queue and we are performing this queue action for each vertex exactly once. So a vertex can enter the queue at most once, and then we remove it at most once. So we have kept in mind that no vertex can come in to the queue twice. So in this sample, u is not coming. So since we encountered f first, so we did not add u again, because if you can see that there is an edge between f and u, so you can say that since this is a node exists, since this is an edge, so we will add u again. But that is not done, because we had taken the case since u had already a distance assigned to it, so we did not add u again. So in that case, since that has been taken care of, so nothing will be added twice. So every vertex is added at most once, and since there are total of v vertices, so the order will be degree of v. And the running time of BFSX is number of edges in connected component of x. So some observations about BFS is any vertex v enters the queue at most once. We already discussed it. So everything will be on queued once and dequeued once. And before entering the queue, distance of v is updated. So this was done at this stage. Here we assign distance of w as distance of v plus 1, and then we added it. So first we are assigning it the distance, and then we are adding it. And when a vertex v is dequeued, v processes all its unvisited neighbors. So how did we check for unvisited neighbors again? We checked whether their distance is infinity or not. So if it was infinity, they were unvisited. If it was not infinity, that means they were already visited. So we process all the unvisited neighbors as follows. So distance is computed using this distance of v plus 1, and then it is onqueued to a queue using onqueue function. Then a vertex v in the queue is surely removed from the queue during the algorithm. This is done using this while loop, and while loop is run till the queue is empty, till the queue is made empty. So we repeatedly perform the dequeue function till at the end the queue is completely empty. So in that case, every vertex v in the queue is removed for sure. So that was it for the BFS, and that was it for the data structures and algorithms course. So hopefully you were able to learn a lot from this course and were able to understand these concepts. So wishing you a very happy learning, and goodbye. Thank you.